Yeah, I'm not Gary V, but I'm Bobby G.
I like it. Okay, I like it. Okay, cool. Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is a brand new rock star. Super excited to dig into the topics today. He's the founder and principal of Proper Design, and he's got a new book coming out soon called Build Your Brand Like You Give a Shit. I love that. It's Bobby Gillespie, also known as Bobby G. Bobby, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, one of the things I've heard you talk about is a brand growth success pyramid. I'm really interested in that. So can you explain that and why it's important to build your brand on the right foundation?
So imagine the old food pyramid, right? From back when it was just, layers. And at the bottom of that pyramid is the foundation. Right? The foundation is what everything is built on top of. And we start with building a brand foundation, and that's composed of a few elements. At the tippy top of the pyramid is sales, right? The conversion. So if you want more sales, you want better sales opportunities, if you want the conversations you need to have to close deals, you don't start with sales, right? You start at the foundation, right? And it all feeds up. So at the very bottom is your brand, which is your vision and strategy. And that's made up of core elements are your core values, your brand message, which includes your purpose and mission. And your values are the non-negotiable aspect of your brand, right? The things that you truly give a shit about that you would fight on the street over. Your message is, who you are, what you do, for whom, how you do it, your purpose beyond transactions, your mission. And that's sort of how you can, that message is broadcasting to everybody, what you're all about, and the right people will be attracted to that message. The wrong people will be like, that's not for me, right? So then when you're trying to have those sales at the top of the pyramid, they're the right people have found their way to you. And that's the idea. The last aspect of the brand foundation is, your personality and tone of voice. And those are what influence what's appropriate in terms of word and image, design and writing and video. So what are the pieces of the pyramid that are between, vision and strategy, aka your brand, and sales conversion? So on top of brand is design, which is influenced by all those things, right? Then design influences what's next, marketing, which is your voice. And then next is advertising, which is touch. And then following that is business dev, which is inspire. And you're inspiring people to convert, right? So, if you're a growth leader, if you're a revenue leader at your company, you don't want to put all of your resources into that top piece of the pyramid. You want to make sure that all the pieces below that are going to feed into a more healthy, sustainable, and scalable operation, starting with brand, that's the best way to do it. And we know that that's the best way to do it is because that's the way we do it for our clients. And it works. It helps them sort of do all the right things, say all the right things to the right people in the right places at the right time to attract them and lead to those conversions.
Yeah, I like that because I think that if you don't do that, sometimes you will accidentally hit on sales, but they aren't the right people. And so then it's a very challenging, whatever you're selling, whether it's a service or a product, it's all those kinds of customers always seem like they're difficult because they don't fit, they don't value the same things you do as an organization. And so that does affect you. So I totally buy that. That makes a ton of sense. So I wanted to ask you, obviously as a creative agency in Proper Design, most people kind of feel like, I think, or a lot of small businesses for sure feel like their brand is their logo. And I was kind of curious to know, as a creative agency, do you think that's right? And if not, why not?
Well, I struggled with associating my company with branding because it's kind of it doesn't really have any meaning. It means something different to everybody. And a lot of people say your brand is your logo. The origin of branding was branding cattle and things like that. But the way we look at it to make it approachable to everybody is your brand is your reputation. So everything you do sends a message. Therefore, everything you do is marketing. But that message, how it's sent, who it's sent to, and how it makes them feel, that's your brand, right?
Yeah.
So not to get into like the slap, right, a couple of weeks ago, but think about the reputation of the person who did the slapping.
Yeah.
Before the event and after, right?
Yeah.
A lot of damage was done to the reputation, right?
Big time.
So you think about the expression of your brand is how you interact with people, how you treat them, right? The culture of your company, how you treat your customers, the impact your company has on the environment. You know, does the CEO park in a handicap spot because it's close to the door? That's their brand. That's their reputation, right? So you got to think about all these different things that make up this narrative. And if you want to have an authentic brand, you know, that authenticity is not pushing a false narrative. It's pushing realness. And that realness is what people relate to. That realness is what people expect from your brand. That realness is what they want, right? That purpose, that mission, that authenticity. So yes, your logo is part of the story, your website, your core message, your marketing, your office, the way you dress, it's all sending a message. And what that message is, you got to ask yourself, is this message the one we want to be sending?
Yeah.
Right. Is this the brand we want? Because at the end of the day, no matter what, you're going to get the brand you deserve. You better make sure you take the steps that it's the brand that you want.
Yeah, I like that a lot. You're going to get the brand you deserve. I think there is a ton of truth in that statement. I love it. So I read this sort of statement by you, Bobby, and I can't wait to dig into this. So you have said that brand marketing is an infinite game played with finite resources. So I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek, and he has the book, The Infinite Game. Are you talking about that? Can you explain what you mean by that?
So yeah, Simon is great. You know, I think his brand is the why guy, right? I appreciate and respect that, but it is an infinite game, right? Like, you know, we don't want to get into like winning or losing, right? Those are short-term accomplishments. You know, like Simon said, it's not winning or losing. It's how long and at what level you're playing the game. But when you think about marketing, right, especially when you're thinking about it in terms of breaking down silos between the creative and the conversion, we want to say like, okay, we only have a certain amount of resources that we can allocate to marketing, right? Yeah. We don't have the energy of the sun to be able to put, you know, to broadcast everywhere. We have a limited amount of energy. So you want to focus it like a laser. And that comes back to positioning. So if you're positioning yourself well, right, you're saying the right thing to the right people, you have a product or service that brings value, you're authentically having those conversations, then you're going to get a lot more out of those limited resources, right? Because you want to keep playing. You don't ever stop marketing.
Right.
People do, and they regret it, right? For all kinds of reasons. But having that focus on, okay, this is who our customer is. This is where they are. This is what they care about. This is who we are, right? We're clear on that because we have a proper brand foundation. This is what we care about. This is where we go and meet them, right? And that eliminates any excesses, that eliminates any waste, that maximizes the impact on, you know, on any initiatives that you're taking in terms of marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that makes a ton of sense. So it kind of leads nicely into my final question for you, Bobby, one of the things that I see that's so challenging is that there's just so many metrics out there to try and measure, oh, well, the reach was this and the engagements were this and whatever. There's so many, and some of them I like to call sort of ego metrics. Which are, that's fine, but they just are what they are. So can you talk a little bit about the difference between insights versus content?
Yes. So content is, you create content to influence the machines. Your content is going to improve SEO. It's going to drive traffic to your website. It's going to get people to come, and maybe know of you, maybe heard of you, right? But your insights, you can outsource your content creation. You could do, keyword research and get blogs written by other people. You can get videos created. You can do, all that stuff. That's important. And all those, metrics you mentioned fall into that. And those are important for the bigger picture. But what's going to lead to a conversion, those sales, right? That business dev, that inspiring, are your insights.
Okay.
And that comes from, thought leadership. That comes from an open source mindset in terms of your ideas. Now, sharing your ideas with others, not giving away all your intellectual property, but sharing your IP and saying like, hey, this is some value I think that you could benefit from. Here are some things that we're seeing that may help you. Here's some things that we've done that you probably feeling the same challenge, and we've helped our clients do that too. So sharing those insights, having that open source approach to say, hey, you know what? This is contributing to the conversation. This is going to make us all better. This is going to make our prospects and our audiences better. So what that does is influences them to say like, hey, you know what? Bobby's an authority on this.
Right.
He's really good at it. Right. So when the time comes that they have a need for something that we do, we've already brought a lot of value to them. It's absolutely non-transactional. Right. Because we know it's going to help them.
Yep.
So that's like taking a whole different approach and saying like, oh, we're going to gate all of our content because it's so valuable. I like to say like, hey, you know what? Let's just add to the conversation and make all marketers better. Yeah. Right. And we'll pick up some clients along the way, but we're contributing to the conversation, which I think is more important than just the success of my company.
I love that. I'm so excited that we're sort of finishing on this. This is what I like to call giving first, right? You're providing value up front. And I think that generally speaking, it's not new, but we've got new tools to do it. People who give first tend to win. And so I think you and I are kindred spirits on
the rule
that.
Reciprocity, right? If someone gives you something, you feel compelled to give back unless you're a sociopath. But it's also like a lot of us, B2B space, especially like we're trying to build relationships with people, even like B2C, you're trying to build relationships with people, right? That you want a positive relationship with your brand. And the only way you're going to develop a healthy relationship is by delivering some sort of benefit and value.
Totally.
And if you're just giving value to people all the time, eventually that rule of reciprocity will dictate that, hey, you know what? They're really good people. I like their style. They're smart or obviously know what they're talking about. I'm going to pick up the phone and give them a shout. And then it's not selling. You're just having conversations and say, hey, you know what? What's the problem you're having? Is this a good fit for us? Is this a good fit for you? And then you're just agreeing on the terms to work together. Yeah. And that's what I want. I mean, I'm a designer, art director, creative director. But I'm also the revenue executive at my company. Right. And I'm not convincing anybody to hire us.
Right.
And I want them to perceive our value and align it with things that they're struggling with, and for them to know that we've been through it and we can help them through it too.
No, I love that. Well, Bobby Gillespie, or AKA Bobby G, thanks so much for taking the time. As you listen to this, please go check out his book. Hopefully it'll be out when this drops. Build Your Brand Like You Give a Shit. Absolutely love that title. I can't wait to check it out. And we'll have to do this again sometime. It's been fun. Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity, Kirby. Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.